Hi and welcome again. This is Joe with C&J Goods, and I'm joined today by my associate Frankie.
Hello.
She's going to be my question asker and the person that I'm teaching because she hasn't done a lot of leatherworking.
I'm a bit of a novice.
So we're going to be talking about lacing and cording and working with those so that you can make stuff that you like. I've got functional and decorative. We're not going to go into how to do these patterns or anything. We're just going to do the real basic stuff about cord versus lace versus punching holes the right size and knot, and just some quick tricks for how to do it. You'll see a lot of Ren Fair pouches and bags and things that are just laced together. This is not knotted at all because everything is so rough textured. And because things are at a close diameter, I didn't use overly large holes. This will not pull apart very easily, even though it's not stitched that many times together. So cord and lace is a great way to do both a functional and decorative stitch. And Frankie asked me earlier why we wouldn't just stitch stuff. And if you're going for a more period piece, cord and laces were much more readily available than threads, and needles were quite expensive. So you wouldn't necessarily be able to do those projects, but you could easily make cord and lace from a piece of leather, and there are tools for doing that. First thing I want to cover is real or fake. We do this a lot in our videos. Nothing wrong with double checking what your material is. It determines how long something will last, how well it'll hold together, and if you're using genuine materials or not. Both of these look very similar. And I happen to know that one is real and one is fake. So we're gonna let Frankie figure out which one is which. So there's two ways to look at this. Sight and smell. And a little bit of feel.
Yeah. So it smells really chemically.
Yep.
It balls up really easily, so I'm going to say this one is fake.
Yeah. So, and if you feel that little ball won't come off. If this was real leather, it would ash a little bit and give you some carbon. This is just not doing anything. So plastics will tend to ball up like that. All right, and let's go for the other one. So leather doesn't like to burn.
Yeah.
Okay.
It smells natural. Like it just smells like it doesn't smell chemically.
Skin, yeah.
And it didn't really ball up at all. It does have kind of like an ashy residue.
Just a little bit of the carbon coming off there. Yeah.
So I'm gonna say this one's real.
Yep. So if we checked all of these here, they would also have the same result as the real leather. Okay. And it's a little bit easier to see because this isn't black. That is holding a flame, naturally. Okay. This balling on the top here. Oh,
still hot.
Still hot. But there's a little bit of the dye treatment, okay? And this is coming right apart. So, real leather doesn't deal quite the same way with chemicals. So this is just good to know because with real natural fibers, you're going to have to tie a different knot. If you were going to use the fake stuff, you could actually burn the knot and have it melt together so the two ends wouldn't come apart.
Gotcha.
So just things to keep in mind. It's not saying one is better than the other, but the leather is. What are ways to check your holes? Go for it.
So I'm going to use this blue because it's pretty. Cut off this burned end. And so I'm just going to try by just picking a hole and seeing if it works.
Okay. Now, I noticed when you cut that, you cut it flat. That makes it harder to actually run a lot of lace through.
Okay.
All right. So, and if you know you're going to be repeatedly lacing with something, you can give yourself a little extra length and cut it at an angle. So I take the scissors and do this really quick. That precludes the need for a needle in a lot of cases. So if you're going to be repeatedly running it in, you can get that sharp point and you can grab that little tip there. All right, go for it.
Sweet. So this seems like the right size hole.
Right.
There's not a whole lot showing in the back.
Okay.
And it fits in pretty nicely.
Right. So if she goes any bigger, things will happen here. Let's go for our biggest hole as an example. Okay. very easy. It's just going to slide right through and give you no friction at all. And you can see how much of a gap there is. I might choose this if I knew I was going to lace through the hole a number of times rather than just once, because that way I have a chance to get that tip in there. And the more of the suede I use, the more it tries to grip itself because it's a rougher texture. So I know I could get that in at least one more time with that size diameter. Okay. So try to keep it a little bit tight, especially if you're only going to be running your lace through the holes once. Okay. You are trying to make something that's going to hold stuff and be a little bit waterproof, generally speaking, and it becomes less effective if the hole is too big and lets water in through the sides and stuff. So that's something to keep in mind. There are lacing needles, which can be helpful. This is an example of one. It's pretty narrow one direction and it's wider the other way. And the way this works is it's got a pinching mechanism. Okay, so if I just try to grab this here, see how thick that's going to be and hard to grab it? Mm-hmm. What you're going to do is you're going to take either a skiving knife or an X-Acto or something, and you're going to try to cut it thinner. And this is usually easier if you have a surface to raise it on, just a touch. Okay, so I've made a nice little wedge shape. Okay, and that will go into the needle. Not easy to do. And then you're going to take a hammer or a pair of pliers and you're going to give it a good pounding down. I'm just going to give you a quick example here. I'm not really going to try to lock this in place too good. But before it was hard to get through that first hole, right? Mm-hmm. Now I'm going to be able to get it through no problem. And I could probably get it in through again. But again, if you're going for a more vintage look, needles would have been very expensive. Mm-hmm. If you're trying to get a blacksmith to hammer something that skinny and tiny, they're not going to like you very much. Mm-hmm. And also imagine how hard it is to get a hole in there. Mm-hmm. So that's why needles are so expensive. All right, so those are some basics with working with leather. Another thing I'm going to teach you really quick is how to tie a figure 8 knot to tie off a project at the end. So a figure 8 knot is a little bit like your regular, just simple knot. Okay, that's a simple knot there. Just a big O. Mm-hmm. Okay. And instead of figure 8, starts the same, okay? It's gonna wrap around. Instead of just going right into this loop, we're gonna go around one more time, just part way, and pull it tight. And that's a figure 8. See how it looks like an 8? And if I keep pushing it, it balls up nicely, and this will not pull through this hole. It's got a good grip on there. Mm-hmm. If I try to pull that, it's just gonna stay put and not go. So that's why figure 8s are really good for working with the cord. Can't do this with a thread, it's too small, it'll still pull through.